Who would be the best husband for Chizuru from the Shinsengumi, and this is taking into account everything: chemistry, romance, and parenting. The members of the Shinsengumi are an interesting group, and the personality diversity among the members and their interactions with each other is what makes watching Hakuouki so enjoyable. Throughout the 2 seasons and OVA special, we got to see the characters interact with Chizuru one-on-one, and these moments of interaction can shed light on who is the best candidate for Chizuru to spend the rest of her life with. In this video, I will try to answer that question. I am going to list off mostly every character in the Shinsengumi and give a dissection of their personality and how well they would be as a husband for Chizuru. Once I am done doing that for all the characters, then at the end I will say who I believe will be the best for Chizuru. Let's start off with the first member, and this member who is basically the main character of the show, that is, Toshizo Hijikata. Hijikata is tall, strong, fearless, poetic, and dutiful. He has a lot of responsibilities he must take care of throughout the series and is constantly tested. He truly is living life on the edge and oftentimes is obligated to. Hijikata, however, is not a victim, nor does he ever perceive himself as that, rather a creator and someone who accepts the challenges he is going through and takes them head on. This characteristic is an extremely desirable quality in a partner because marriage and relationships are constantly filled with challenges. Hijikata, if married to Chizuru, is one who would not back down from challenges. Hijikata at times can be tough, but not callous like a Kazama or psychopathic like her father, rather coming from a place of compassion because he knows a person can be better. I can imagine conflicts occurring in their relationship. Chizuru would be able to glance over that because of her self-sacrificing and agreeable nature. The question is, how long would she deal with that? How many times would they argue and she would have to make adjustments around Hijikata's tough nature and emotional outrages? And even if it is brought to Hijikata's awareness, how much of it could be suppressed? I think it is very hard to suppress certain aspects of our personality for a very long time span. A few minutes is not that bad, but for an entire lifetime this is difficult of a thing to do. Hijikata's chemistry with Chizuru is shown to be superb in the anime. In Season 2 they basically can't live without each other. They need each other, and their happiness and meaning for their life relies on each other. But just because this is the case doesn't mean everything will remain perfect. Many people have been so in love with each other to the point where they could not imagine a life without that person, but the relationship does not work out or it is filled with conflict. It is clear they do have chemistry with each other, and this is shown throughout the anime. Now, how would Hijikata make for as a parent? I can imagine him having an authoritarian parenting style. Basically, this is a parenting style which children should follow the rules. How Hijikata leads the Shinsengumi will most likely be how he raises his children. Chizuru, on the other hand, would have more of a semi-authoritative parenting style. Authoritative parents set rules and enforce punishment but take into account their children's opinions and emotions. This is what will make for a great balance between the two. It would be interesting if they were to ever make a series or visual novel where you get to play as the characters, but this time you are raising children with Chizuru. The difficulty with Hijikata being a husband is he would constantly be in war. This can potentially lead to him not always spending time with Chizuru and their children. As for romance, Hijikata has shown to express himself to Chizuru in Movie 2 and the final set of episodes of Season 2. Plus, he has a poetic side. This would keep their romantic life great for a very long time. Before I move on to the next character, there is one thing I want to mention. I initially added another criteria in my analysis of each character, and that was commonality. However, I had a very difficult time thinking about this for each character, so I took it off my analysis criteria. But I would like to know what your thoughts are on the commonality for each character and how well they relate with Chizuru. The next character is going to be Shenpachi. Shenpachi is an extrovert. He truly is someone who can gather many people's attention. He is tall, handsome, talented, charming, courageous, and follows his heart. Shenpachi, unfortunately, does not have as much of a focus on him as someone like Soji or Hajime. Even in the 6-part OVA they created, there was not an episode dedicated to Shenpachi, rather for Kazama. Shenpachi would make for a great conversationalist because of his extrovert nature. I think this would be great for Chizuru. I can imagine their relationship being filled with a lot of intimacy and connection. Shenpachi is naturally a good-hearted person. There was rarely any conflicts he was involved in, and neither does he have a tough personality like a Hejikata. There were not many moments of him with Chizuru, and I truly wish we had more exposure with him and Chizuru. I am guessing there is so much more we get in the visual novels than in the anime. The chemistry between Shenpachi and Chizuru is a good one. Mainly because of Shinpachi's likable personality and his ability to get along with many people, and also because of Chizuru's agreeable temperament. She gets along with basically anyone. If Chizuru and Shenpachi were to get married, I can imagine their relationship being filled with many dates, going to a variety of places, partaking in extrovert-related activities, have conversations about a variety of topics, and overall having a good relationship. There would not be much conflict in their relationship, as Shenpachi is not one to start problems and Chizuru is one to glance over problems because she does not like participating in conflict. As for how would Shenpachi be if he were a parent, to be honest, this is hard to assess. It is clear he would make for a great father. A father who is there for his children and supportive, having great conversations and emanating a positive aura around them while being supportive to Chizuru. The next character is Soji. Soji, out of the members of the Shinsengumi, probably has the best personality for a relationship. He is funny, loyal, outgoing, sarcastic, serious, courageous, and at times ruthless. Soji is an interesting character to dissect, mainly because he is so multifaceted. We see moments of him playfully interacting with children, and then other moments trying to end people in the most ruthless fashion ever. I can understand the tremendous appeal people have around Soji, as I do. Soji, unfortunately, is diagnosed with tuberculosis, making him immobilized and bedridden. This truly was sad to watch. There are various scenes of him coughing up blood because of his illness, and as a viewer it is sad to watch because of the suffering he must be experiencing. He was dealt a difficult hand and tried to see the bright side of his situation. Chizuru was caring for Soji. She looked after him and helped him. Chizuru and Soji's relationship is special in my eyes. He was one of the first members in the Shinsengumi to meet Chizuru. For the first few episodes, Soji and Chizuru had the most dialogue with each other. She helped him out while he was fighting Kazama at the Ekidaya Inn. And she was there by his side while he got his diagnosis, showing emotional support and care for him. Soji and Chizuru's chemistry is woven well into the series. There are various moments where they interacted with each other, and these are not minor hello and bye moments, rather serious moments. In some cases, defining moments in Hakuouki. It is apparent Soji was going through a lot throughout the entire series. An illness which is making his life shorter, a war he can no longer fight in, the death of someone he truly loved, and Nagumo who ultimately lied to him about the water of life curing his illness. Throughout these various obstacles Soji was put into, we were able to see a full spread of his personality. And this is of great use to us to see how he would make for a husband for Chizuru. As a husband, I can imagine Soji having constant humor with Chizuru. It would not be as formal as a hajime kind of relationship, rather a relationship filled with a colossal amount of sarcasm, but underneath this sarcasm is love and connection. Soji expresses his love, but in a way that might seem odd to many, but to the one it matters the most, Chizuru, she will understand and appreciate it. I can see their relationship having a dramatic element to it. It may not be drama as in conflict between Soji and Chizuru, but Soji getting involved in drama in some way. Nevertheless, Soji, like many of the members, would make for a good partner. His multifaceted personality will entertain Chizuru for many years. Now, how would Soji make for a parent? Soji would make for a great parent. The children in the Hakuouki universe love Soji. He is kind, caring, and compassionate towards them. The OVA episode of Hakuouki with Soji displays this well. However, there is one moment in this episode that is not good parenting, and that is when Soji is holding a kid for an extended period of time and he starts to cry. Obviously, Soji was not going to do anything bad. Chizuru confronted him about it, and Soji said it was because they were badmouthing Kondo. What he did was not justifiable. Chizuru does mention, is he worried about his sickness? Soji at this point in the series had a lot going on. I can only imagine what he was going through at the time, psychological, and how that must have impacted his decision making. Nevertheless, he would do his duty well as a father. To conclude this, Soji and Chizuru have a unique bond and their relationship would be a good one. Now, let's move on to Harada. Harada is tall, handsome, a multifaceted fighter, cheerful, kind, and has a short temper. If you're wondering why I say this, just ask Hesuke. He knows this from personal experience. Harada has an unusual charm to him. He is laid back and very affectionate. Harada is best friends with Shenpachi and has an amazing relationship with him and the various members of the Shinsengumi. There is a chemistry between Harada and Chizuru. Harada is playful and compliments Chizuru often. Out of the group, he would probably be the most affectionate. If Harada were to marry Chizuru, I can imagine them being in a very healthy, stable relationship, a relationship rarely filled with conflict. Harada has shown through interaction with his rival Shiranui that he can cooperate and make adjustments to see the big picture. Even though Harada lashed his anger out on Hesuke, this was only because it was confidential information he was about to leak. Immediately after that, he apologized to Hesuke. To me, this appears to be one of those rare out-of-character moments for Harada. Excluding this moment, he is a mix of seriousness and being laid back. As for a parent, I can see the Chizuru and Harada household being very laid back but a focus on discipline and fulfilling your duties. I cannot envision Harada being tough on his kids like a Hejikata would. His compassion might lead him to empathize more than being a very strict parent. Let's now move on to Hajime. Hajime is a sensitive, loyal, dutiful, patient, courageous, stable, and conscientious person. He has a duty and shall fulfill it no matter what. He is a perfectionist and cares about making sure he is the best swordsman he can be. He is soft-spoken and caring. He is cold and distant at first, but once he is comfortable around someone, his true side begins to show. He rarely raises his voice and never causes for conflict. He speaks when he feels like he has something worth saying. Hajime is wise in his decision-making, always thinking about the pros and cons and what can potentially occur. Possessing qualities which will make for a great husband. Hajime and Chizuru have a unique kind of chemistry with each other. Since Hajime is shy and reserved, he is not as straightforward with how he feels like Harada or Soji. Hajime does develop a fondness towards Chizuru. He is blown away by her beauty in the OVA and said it is urgent for him to confess how he truly feels because he may not be able to see her again. Chizuru is appreciative of Hajime. If Hajime were to marry Chizuru, here's how I imagine their relationship to be. I can see Hajime making his relationship a main priority. Like everything else Hajime does, he would put this at the top of his priority list. He would be patient, compassionate, and there for Chizuru. He probably may not make her laugh as much as a Soji, but his reliability is something which would make Chizuru never worry. His poetic side would be great for their romantic life and keep their flame of romance alive for a very long time. I can see Chizuru attempting to enter into the mind of Hajime. Since he is not one to speak much and not one to open up much, the mystery that is Hajime Saito would be a lifetime pursuit of her trying to figure out. Chizuru is not an extremely extrovert person, so there would be not an extreme mismatch between the two which would reduce conflict. And Hajime, because of his ability to make wise decisions, will always think about how is this going to affect our relationship. Now, how would Hajime be as a parent? I think this is rather clear. I think Hajime would be an amazing parent. He would instill the right principles into his children. He would not be someone who would yell, rather be patient and explain through reason why certain things should and should not be done. He would teach them the importance of discipline, hard work, and thinking things through. In addition, an appreciation for the beauty of life. And above all, his main duty would be looking after his kids. Now let's talk about Hesuke. Hesuke is young, energetic, vibrant, and excessively talkative. Hesuke is a great addition to the cast because of his personality. He is loved by many of the members and has a good vibes feel to him. He looks after Chizuru and cares about her a lot. Hesuke at his core is truly a good-hearted person. Hesuke, if married to Chizuru, would be an interesting relationship to observe. I think because of Hesuke being young, it would be a big learning process for him, and this would develop him into becoming someone else. I don't think their relationship would be filled with conflict, nor do I believe would it be bad. Hesuke displays enough qualities to be a good partner and have a good relationship with Chizuru. Hesuke would most likely be the one who leads in the relationship because of his extrovert nature. In addition, he would be the conversationalist. Now, how would Hesuke make for as being a father? This is something I had a difficult time thinking about. And, to be honest, I don't know if I can give a precise answer to this question. With that being said, I would like to know what you think about this question. Nevertheless, I believe first it depends on what age Hesuke becomes a father and how much he has experienced throughout the anime timeline. I'm not saying he is not adequate enough to be a father or parent. But the certainty is not complete in my mind. I think if Hesuke were to age more and his personality developed even more, he could instill the important values and principles that the other members of the Shinsengumi might. Finally, after all of this, who do I believe would make for the best husband? In my opinion, it would have to be Hajime. I say this because Hajime would make for a great partner and father. In addition, he has an amazing personality overall. His wisdom, reliability, patience, dutifulness, and stoicism mesh well for the many dimensions involving a relationship such as chemistry, romance, longevity, and parenting. Hajime possesses qualities which makes him superb in all of these domains. This is the video for today. I hope you enjoyed it, and I want to know who you think would make for the best husband out of the Shinsengumi. Thank you for watching and have a good day.